Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Slay the Princess. This is a game that you can find on Steam for about 18 bucks. There is a 10% launch discount until November 2nd, 2023. This is a game that I demoed a while back, and when I was offered my press key for it, I jumped on it because I really enjoyed the demo. Slay the Princess sounds all cute and nicey, and oh, look at that, it's great, it's a cute little princess, and we're gonna rescue it. No, it's not. In fact, it's quite a, I don't want to call it an adult-themed game, but it's really like foreboding and dark, I will say that. And your job is go in there and slay the princess. Of course, there are other choices that you can make along the way that will affect various things. And because this is a very narrative heavy game, I would call it like a choose your own adventure kind of thing. I don't want to spoil too much. The gameplay footage that you're seeing here is all one particular playthrough. I have no idea how many different outcomes there are. And I will just simply say, like, things happened in my playthrough that I did not expect to happen at all. At the end of my playthrough, the game automatically closed itself. I'm like, what? It didn't crash. It's just the choice that I made, the game just shut down. It was so weird. But yeah, if you're a big fan of, like, choose your own adventure games and want a very... a very narrative-heavy experience, then this game it's interesting. You're given a lot of different choices from the get-go, and it's pretty simple. You approach this cabin, and I'm not really spoiling anything here because, you know, at this point everyone should be familiar with the game. But you approach this cabin, and the narrator is talking to you. On occasion, the voice of the hero, which is you, chimes in, and you're kind of like having this conversation with the narrator. Depending on your choices, other voices may show up, but again, it all depends on the choices that you make. And again, your ultimate goal, according to the narrator, is slay the princess or she'll end the world. And this game, like, it really made me, like, I hated. It's just it's difficult to explain. Like, I'm a good person by nature, so the first thing I did was I was like, well, why is she chained up? Maybe I should rescue this person, but at the same time, the narrator's like, well, don't do that. I'm warning you, she'll end the world. Don't do that. So, like, you have very little information to make this decision. And I think that's the whole appeal of this game is you don't have all the facts. You don't know what's going on. And the more you talk to her, the more she starts to freak you out. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Maybe this isn't the gentle creature that I thought she was, but is she still worth killing? You know what I mean? And I have to warn you, if you think this game is appropriate for kids, it's really not. I've seen, like, there's definitely references here and here to violence. You know, in my playthrough that I played, try not to spoil too much, she actually bit off her own arm, and then I had to then saw the rest of it off with a knife. I know, that's freaking dark, right? So, not for kids, is what I'm trying to say. And sometimes, depending on your outcome, you will move on to the next chapter, which is a repeat of the previous chapter, kind of, sort of. You'll realize that, hey, I've been here before. I've got some deja vu. What's going on? What happened the last time? And what's interesting, at least in this particular playthrough, this story arc, I was like, okay, so I wanted to know, am I the only person aware of this? Am I the only one that notices these changes? Like, the castle on the second chapter looked a lot different in my current story arc than it was in chapter 1. And yet I had the same goal. So I'm like, well, what am I doing here then? Like, why? So time is looping? Is that what this is? A time loop? And I can just, it's like Star Trek where I can keep trying and trying and trying until I finally get it right. And then I get out of the time loop. I don't know. But then the more I started talking to the princess in this story arc, she realized that she was in a time loop too and was able to tell me things that happened before in the other time loop. I'm like, well, so how do you know? So we're both affected by this, or you're more than what you say you are. It's really cool. So again, I'm purposely being as vague as possible here and not showing off a whole lot of content because that is the game. Discovery. It's discovering these story arcs. It's discovering the choices and the possible outcomes of these choices and figuring out who this thing is, the princess. Is she more than that? I don't know. I still don't know. I got through a couple of different endings, but it's still, I yeah. At some point I would love to read like a guide walkthrough spoiler just so I know I've gotten everything, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, this game's interesting. If you do like a choose your own adventure game and you don't mind it being dark and you like good voice acting, the princess in this is fully voice acted. The narrator and all the different voices that you come across, they're all voice acted and they're done well. It's not corny at all. So if you enjoy, I don't typically like those text story games on Steam. I typically don't go for those. I find them really boring. But this game, it really drew me into the story, and I loved the different choices that I could possibly make. But it's dark to say the least, and it's also a bit of a mystery. So if you like choose your own adventures, definitely check this game out. So there you go. That was Slay the Princess. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Take care.